Good afternoon, my fellow green thumbs. My name is Brandon with Easy Swap Pots, and thank you for checking out my first video on permacultural style gardening. It'll be a vlog series that will update throughout the year on several different permacultural style gardening techniques that I have going on. And today we're going to be going over the raised bed permacultural style SIPS garden that I am setting up in my backyard. If you don't know what SIPS style gardening is, it's short for sub-irrigated planting systems. And basically you have a water reservoir and your pots sit inside this water reservoir, and the water naturally wicks up to the plant, and it creates for a whole lot less watering needs and better overall soil conditions for your plants. So let's check it out. Alright, so here's the setup. Everything I have right here is everything that I need to set up that big fabric pot. You can see some wood, some soil, some hydrostones, some red lava rock, pine needle mulch, and then a watering source. And of course the big kid swimming pool is acting as the water reservoir for our self-wicking system. In my opinion, SIPS gardening is the best container style garden that replicates nature. And here I have a 65-gallon smart pot along with some 5-gallon easy swap pots that I'm going to have set up inside of this large kiddie pool, which is going to act as my water aquifer. So to begin, I'm going to add in some large porous rocks, which happen to be mostly available are the red lava rock, and on top of that some finer porous rock, which happens to be grow stones that I can find. So it just happens that a full bag of red lava rocks works perfect for the 65-gallon fabric pot. And in my 1 year of doing SIPS container. Alright guys, so my first camera cut out on me and I didn't realize it until I had some things done. We were last at the adding the red lava rock, and I will show you what I did then there. Alright, so I added my red lava rock and then followed by the grow stones on top of that. All you're trying to do with the smaller stones on top of the larger stones is fill in the gaps so that the soil wouldn't fall through. And the rock layer is going to act as the filter layer between the water and the aquifer and your carbon and soil layer that's above that. So now that you have your rocks in, I have roughly a 2 to 3 inch layer of rocks. I went and added my carbon source, which happens to be broken up branches and a piece of driftwood that I happened to find. And now I'm adding the soil back to it. Make sure that you do have 30 to 40% aeration in your soil that you're adding in, as that can play a major role with water issues and aeration issues, and you don't want root rot. So that's my one tip there. I'm going to go ahead and finish filling up this thing with soil. Alright, so I have the fabric pot 2/3 full with my soil now and my rocks and all the other layers. And now I'm going to actually transplant my tomatoes that are in 2-gallon and 3-gallon easy swap pots into the final SIPS pot that they're going to be in all summer long. And as you can tell, these were actually set up as SIPS containers as well. I've got a rock layer down here filled up with soil, and the saucer was the water aquifer, or the water holding aquifer. So simply, the nice thing about my fabric pot is you just unsnap 4 sides. real easy cleanup, as you can just dump. It acts as a saucer. You can catch all your soil and just dump in. There's very little cleanup to the easy swap pots. And now that those are in, I'm going to finish filling up the rest of the fabric pot. Alright, that's all set up. I do want you guys to know that you can use just about any container for SIPS gardening. I had taken this little wax paper cup and turned it into a little SIPS garden too by just punching holes through it, adding a little rock, throwing in some soil. This worked actually really good and even better than the plastic containers I've tried. There's the rocks. Alright, then the last thing you can do is just add a mulch layer on top here. You don't want your soil exposed to the sun and harmful rays that come out of there, because you're going to pull all the moisture out of your planter. And if you were thinking of nature, you would have leaves or grass or something covering the soil. So anything that you have laying around, grass clippings, straw. I happen to use spruce needles because I have an abundance in my yard. And before I do that, I like to always lay down some comfrey leaves from my comfrey patch. Bioaccumulator that's chock full of nutrients. Alright, so I finished off the mulching layer with the spruce needles, and the last thing to do is to make sure that the whole 65-gallon planter is evenly moist, or at least wet. If the top 6 inches were to get dry, you lose the wicking ability. So I'm going to first top water feed real heavy to make sure that that is extremely wet, and then always try to keep 3-4 inches of water in the aquifer, which is obviously the kiddie pool. So thank you for checking out the first video. There'll be bi-weekly updates on this. Take care and happy gardening.